Hello everybody, welcome to WhatCulture Gaming. I'm Scott, joined by Josh.
Hello, Scott.
Joshua, my friend, this news in regards to the PS5's unveiling comes with a massive caveat, pinch of salt, truckload of salt, according to Mr. Jason Schreier, the one and only person we all continually go back to for information as to what the hell's happening with anything in regards to gaming. So Schreier was recently on the Press Start podcast, and he was being asked by a series of user questions, community questions, as to what's happening with the PS5, and they said, do you have any idea as to when we'll actually be seeing the PS5, which is going to be unveiled and everything else? And he said, Sony's on track to do at least one thing by early June, and then he changed that and he said by mid-June, and he sort of went away from that. But alongside that comment is his whole thing about caveats and truckloads of salt and whatever, because he was just saying as soon as he says something like this, the whole games media is going to run with it. Yes, we are.
Yes, we are.
All the time. And so, he doesn't want to, he said, obviously considering the ramifications of what's going on in the wider world right now, things are obviously subject to change, but June would be the right kind of time for, when E3 is going to would usually have happened. So It seems like it would make sense to do something relating to the console that's releasing at the end of the year.
Like, again, I feel like this has almost become the Batman Arkham rumor mill of like the console space. Every single month we go, it's got to be the month. This month's got to be the month. They've got to show something. God. It's getting to the end of the year. They keep saying it's going to come out at the end of 2020, but we've got nothing to show. But
remember when we thought it was in February?
Sorry? I know it was going to be February at one point.
February?
That seemed like it was nailed on. Obviously, everything that's happened has made it in flux. There were rumors it was going to be May. Obviously, that didn't happen. I suppose we're in May now, but it doesn't seem like it's going to happen. And now June, it would make sense because, like you say, it would be around E3 time. Microsoft have already said that their event is going ahead in June, so Sony won't want to give them too much of a head start or dominate the press, with free reign. They want to start this competition up so they can, ultimately persuade people to buy PlayStation 5s. But I do think they need like a huge showing. They can't just come out and show, the controller. They can't just, tease a few games. It needs to be incredibly confident and strong, because so far, from what we've heard, the details, like we've been saying, sound good, but we haven't had that, home run yet. Microsoft kind of hasn't either. I enjoyed their Inside Xbox event, but even that wasn't like the grand blowout you assume that the E3 sort of event is going to be.
Yeah, they've kind of I think I did a whole video on, just went up on Saturday, called how Sony should have revealed the PS5, and obviously the immediate fallback on that is that they haven't fully revealed the PS5, but I class all this stuff so far as them teasing it. This is the PS5's reveal. We haven't had the official full video yet, but we've had a blog post, we've had Mark Cerny talking about the hardware breakdown, they've been talking about it in Wired interviews a couple of times last year. I class all that as the reveal of the PS5. Yes, there's the one conference still to go. Quick thing I'm going to drop in here is that there was a date mentioned by Jeff Grubb, great name, who works for VentureBeat, who posted on Reset Era that he said Sony have something planned for June 4th, but he said the hardware could still be unveiled before then. But I guess if you take that alongside the Schreier thing, then June 4th is our date, potentially. But yeah, in regards to the way that they've been rolling stuff out, for me, it comes across as a complete lack of confidence. And especially if you put it up next to Microsoft, who just during the Game Awards were just sort of hey, we don't even need our own thing. Let's just randomly, here you go. Here's the Series X. This is what it looks like. Here's 2 YouTube videos for how it loads stuff and how it can suspend multiple games at once. And comparatively, Sony are just sort of well, we've got the logo and here's a blog post with a controller. It seems so half-baked at the minute.
Yeah, it has been very strange, and I don't know whether that's because of a lack of confidence or mismanagement on Sony's behalf, or just because of they're trying to react to everything that's going on. You imagine they must have had a conference style thing planned with presenters and people coming in and out, and dev teams being flown over, and journalists being flown over, and obviously that can't happen anymore. So they will have had to, even if they had the core of what they were going to show ready, they would have had to restructure that show, and that does take time, especially when you're reacting to everything else and trying to get PlayStation 4 games out on time. But at the same time, Microsoft's kind of just had free reign to do what they want and get people hyped, and I think they've done a much better job of kind of reacting to everything by, immediately saying, we're going to do this event here, we've got another one in June, come see what we've got in store. And Sony, like you said, have just been kind of closed off, and when they have opened up, they've been communicating things very weirdly to fans, and I'm still excited for these machines, but it's not like they don't have the same momentum that the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One did, because like those things, even though they made some mistakes along the way, they came out swinging, trying to convince you that you needed to buy the consoles. Whereas half the time, I forget that they're even coming out at the end of 2020 at the moment. I have to remind myself that, oh yeah, we are getting these games, we are getting these machines, and I want to look forward to them.
Well, no, I mean, the thing is that we always talk about, like, over the console cycles, it tends to switch. Like, it was, Sony absolutely dominated with the PS2, then they dropped the ball on the PS3, so Microsoft came swinging in with, the original Xbox. I had one, I loved that system, but the 360 really took off, and the PS3 sales slowly caught up, and then PS4 was dominating last generation because Microsoft messed up with the Xbox One. And so I kind of wonder, like you said, in terms of excitement, everything's kind of primed for Microsoft to take over again, because people actually want to get back in, actually want to champion Microsoft again. Whereas, like, whoever's in the lead, it's like, well, we've got used to you being popular. Let's see what's happening with the underdog again. And obviously, it would rely on Sony messing things up again, like they did with the PS3 launch. But it's not like they haven't done this stuff before, and there is a lot of goodwill like surrounding Microsoft, whether it be the Game Pass stuff, backwards compatibility, like all the different studios that they're buying up, the different projects that they're greenlighting. Like, I don't know, I obviously want both companies to succeed, but I just think it's a weird way to roll out the PS5, especially when you have so much momentum behind the PS4. Like, you could have just got out there and, you could have waited. You could have not done the blog post. You could have avoided the Wired interviews, which were just kind of weird. And then, and the Mark Cerny thing, and just be like, look, here's the Spider-Man 2 logo. Here's God of War 2's logo. Like, here's what it looks like as well. Or respond to that weird jetpack thing that was doing the rounds last year. Do something with that. I guess at this stage, what do you want out of them in a June window? Do you want them to sort of do like a makeshift E3, like have someone present something and sort of show off some potential hardware and software stuff?
Yeah, I need to know everything about the machine. I need to know what it looks like. I need to know the price. I need to know exactly when it's coming. I need to know if I can pre-order it. I need to know what games, or at least some of the games that are going to be there at launch. I don't think a drip feed of information at this moment in time is going to really cut it. Like, they need to show something substantial, because people need to accommodate for a new console. By the sounds of things, it's going to be quite a pricey one.
Especially right now, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. In everything that's going on, you can't just sort of like drop that out there and expect people to turn up. But at the same time, I kind of do have some sympathy for them, because it's entirely unconfirmed, but a lot of the rumors doing the rounds are saying that they're, struggling to get, like parts. They're struggling to kind of, figure out some issues that are going on with the overheating and stuff. And it seems like all signs point to them having a limited rollout for the PlayStation 5 at launch, which could explain why it's been kind of so trepid so far, because they might not, have the manufacturing in place to accommodate everyone who wants one of these consoles. But even then, if that is the case, the messaging needs to be clear on that. You can't just surprise people with that. We kind of know about it, because that's the rumors doing the rounds. But the average person, doesn't know. They don't know what's going on with the PlayStation 5. They don't know whether it's going to be a big thing or something that they have to, pre-order in advance to hopefully get one at launch.
Yeah, well, like you said, there needs to be planning in regards to the financial reality of how much spare cash people don't have right now. Someone tweeted me the other day and just said, do you think that the reality of the reason why they've been so coy with it is because that Jetpack V thing was actually the real, because that was confirmed as a dev kit like multiple times by different developers. I think someone from Codemasters is one of the first people who said it was the actual dev kit that they had hands on with. Someone tweeted me and just said, do you think that was actually the design for the PS5? And because the general reception was people going, what the hell is that they've had to go back and change it. I don't think that's necessarily the case, because dev kits do always look completely different. But what did you, like, if that actually is the PS5? I don't know. What do you think of that? If they brought that back as the actual final shell?
It's, you know what, right? It's really daft, like you said. It looks like a jetpack. But at the same time, I think they should stick to their guns. If you had to react to negative people on the internet, whether they are justifiably right or so, and you had to keep going back to the drawing board every time the internet loudly didn't like something, you'd never get anything released. You know what I mean? You would never get anything done, because everyone's gonna hate some part of what you do. A lot of people didn't like the Tower Xbox One, Xbox Series X. A lot of people don't like the DualShock 5. You can never please anyone. As much as these companies want to maximize profit or whatever, you're always going to piss some people off. And sometimes you just got to kind of like stick to your own designs, because for me, if a company goes back on a design that they had. It indicates to me that they didn't believe in it in the first place. And if a company doesn't believe in a design, how can I trust them to believe in the console itself? You know what I mean? So it seems like a small thing to perhaps alter and to give it to the fans or whatever. But to me, it's emblematic of perhaps a wider problem. You need to be confident in what you're doing. It doesn't matter if I don't like it, as long as you think it's going to work. And you don't get arrogant about it like the PlayStation 3 cell processor. As long as there are limits to this, what I'm saying here. But when it comes to kind of things like design, you know, like I feel like that's something that's quite harmless in the grand scheme of things. So I hope they didn't. They might have, but I hope they didn't.
No, I think that's the thing. The last time they were on top of the world, like the PS2 is still the highest selling console of all time, and then going into the PS3, I still remember when they revealed it, and they had that $600 and $800 price point because there was multiple SKUs. And I think it was Ken Kutaragi who was being asked about, like, well, look at this price point, and he was like, oh, you're going to want to have 2 jobs to be able to afford it. And it was like, no one's going to do that. Like, just what are you saying? And it went to their head so much.
I should clarify what I was saying there. When it gets to the point of sheer arrogance like that, or when Microsoft was saying that if you don't want the Xbox One, we've got a good console for you, it's called the Xbox 360. That's when it becomes a real problem, and you should start listening to the fans. But, you know, as
that
everything,
as well,
there needs to be a balance, I suppose.
Yeah, of course. That quote just cost Don Matrick his job. No one has seen Don Matrick since he said that. Like, even after that conference, I don't think he did anything else. He's just sort of shipped off like the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark and put to the side in some Zune warehouse. But yeah, let us know what you think down in the comments below of the potential reveal of the PS5. Would you like to see it at the start of June? And what would you want to see from a PS5 reveal event, considering how far along we are in the overall rollout of PS5 details? For now, I've been Scott from WhatCulture.com.
I've been Josh from WhatCulture.com.
I will catch you next time. Bye.
Bye.